Okay, let's unpack this. We're doing a deep dive today into something really powerful.
Absolutely. We're looking at how just one tiny habit can spark massive change.
Yeah, and we've got this great source material detailing one young man's story. It seems simple, but wow.
It really does. It tracks this guy, Jake, and how this almost trivial little thing he started doing became this huge catalyst. It's very human.
So let's paint the picture of Jake. The source describes his room as this kind of monument to avoidance.
Yeah. Crumpled papers, art supplies just sitting there gathering dust, unused potential everywhere.
Those grand dreams painted in brilliant colors, as the source says, but everything feels gray, that feeling of procrastination just washing over everything.
Exactly. It's that potential just being, well, suffocated. You can almost feel it.
And it's not just the mess. There's this heavy feeling the source mentions, like actual self-loathing, like a stone on his chest.
And the trigger, or maybe the symbol of it all, is the missed deadline for art school, something he really wanted.
Months he had, and just didn't do it. That's the weight, isn't it? The burden of undone things.
So the question becomes, how do you even start to move that weight when you're that paralyzed?
And that's where his grandfather, Henry, comes in, right into this scene of despair.
He asks this completely unexpected question.
Yeah, what's the heaviest thing in this room? Jake looks around, sees the mess, says his dresser. Makes sense.
But Henry flips it. He says, no, the heaviest thing here is the weight of your dreams deferred.
Ooh, wow. That hits hard. It's not the physical stuff, it's the psychic load.
Exactly. And Henry's solution to this massive invisible weight.
It sounds almost comical, honestly. Jake's life is falling apart, and his grandfather says,
Let's make your bed.
make your bed every single morning. Jake's reaction is pretty much, are you kidding me?
Understandable. It feels so small, so irrelevant compared to art school applications and, everything else.
With trying to put out a forest fire with a water pistol.
But Henry understood something deeper, didn't he? About where change actually begins.
So Jake starts, reluctantly. The source walks us through these first days, parts 2 to 4. It's a struggle.
Oh, yeah. Hitting snooze, fumbling with the sheets, actually cursing at the bedspread.
And by day 3, he's already rebelling in his head. Why am I even doing this? What difference does it make? He's scrolling online, seeing friends seemingly crushing it.
That comparison trap, it's so easy to fall into, especially when you feel stuck. That pullback to doing nothing is strong.
But then something starts to shift, right? Around day 7?
Yeah, it becomes less about the bed itself
Yeah.
and more about keeping this one small promise to himself.
And by day 12, it's becoming automatic. The source mentions this quiet pride he starts feeling.
Not like shouting from the rooftops pride, but something more internal, personal.
Yes. The made bed starts to feel like a tiny win, a little fortress against the chaos, the source calls it.
And that's the key, isn't it? That feeling of having control over one small corner of his life.
It's the seed. The source literally calls it the seed of his own transformation. And this is where it gets really interesting, the ripple effect.
It wasn't forced. It just started happening. He'd carry a coffee cup to the kitchen.
Instead of leaving it there. Or he'd actually organize his homework pile.
Yeah, the source describes his room tidying up almost on its own, like witnessing a time-lapse video. That internal order starts reflecting outwards.
And it wasn't just tidiness. His focus changed too, even in chemistry, a subject he hated.
Right. Suddenly he's making neat diagrams, putting effort into understanding. That discipline from the bed was transferring.
It shows how strengthening that muscle in one area helps everywhere. It's not contained.
Definitely. And then that moment with the sketch pad, after months of not touching it.
So powerful. He opens it up, and the first thing he draws.
His made bed.
And then his grandfather's hands.
It's like he finally understood. It wasn't about the bed, not really. It was about proving to himself he could start something and finish it.
Building that basic trust with himself again, that's huge.
But life isn't a smooth upward curve, is it?
Nope. Curveball time. He gets the rejection letter. Dream internship, gone.
And all that progress feels like it could just evaporate. The self-doubt comes roaring back.
This is such a critical moment in the source material. He's despairing, feeling like it was all pointless.
But his hands, they just start making the bed anyway.
Almost against his will, the source says. That's amazing.
And that's when he has the big insight.
Yeah. Discipline wasn't about feeling motivated. It was about moving forward even when motivation had abandoned you completely.
That's it. The habit had built its own momentum, separate from his feeling.
Which is why habits are so crucial, right? They carry you through when willpower flakes out.
Exactly. They provide the structure for action, even on the bad days. Keep you moving.
So this whole experience becomes his art project on personal transformation, using photos of the bed.
And he shares the story behind it, vulnerably.
And it connects classmates like this guy Marcus dealing with panic attacks about college apps. He hears Jake and thinks, maybe I could try something small too.
It shows the power of just sharing your own struggle, honestly. It resonates more than, generic advice.
And that connection, that resonance, that's what sparks the idea for his blog, Small Beginnings.
Yeah. This whole journey from the messy room and missed deadlines to finding focus, building resilience, even helping others, it all stemmed from that one tiny act.
Making the bed, it really is a testament to starting small and letting momentum do its thing.
The compounding power of consistency, tiny actions, big results over time.
So let's jump forward. 6 months later, part 5 in the source. Jake is different.
Oh, completely. Not hiding under the covers anymore. The change is physical.
His posture, his eyes, how he moves, purposeful. The source says he carries himself like someone who kept promises.
He embodies it now.
Yeah.
It's not just something he does, it's part of who he is.
And the blog, Small Beginnings.
It took off organically. People finding it from all over the world.
Teenagers, adults stuck in procrastination, parents, all connecting with his simple story.
He's amazed by it, apparently. How his little journey could touch so many people fighting similar battles.
It speaks to how universal that feeling of being stuck is, and how much we crave simple, real steps forward.
Then there's the moment Connor visits. This younger kid, overwhelmed, full of potential, but drowning.
And Jake sees himself, his past self.
Yeah, and the source describes him feeling this profound weight of responsibility and privilege, realizing he could offer hope now.
He went from needing the lifeline to being one for someone else, not by being some guru, just by sharing what he learned from step 1.
Making the bed.
And it always comes back to that, doesn't it? The source shows him standing there, maybe day 184, looking at his perfectly made bed.
But the number doesn't even matter anymore by then.
Right, because it was never really about the bed.
It was about the act, the
Okay.
consistency, building trust with himself, proving day by day that he was reliable, even to himself, especially to himself.
So thinking about this whole story, what does it mean for you, listening right now?
Where are your deferred dreams? What's that weight you're carrying?
And what small, maybe seemingly insignificant habit could be your starting point? Your version of making the bed.
What tiny step could you take? Maybe even today to just begin building that self-trust, that little bit of momentum.
Remember that line from Jake's blog post, the final thought from the source? Big changes don't start with big actions. They start with small, consistent habits that whisper to your soul that you are someone who can be trusted with bigger dreams.
So what small whisper are you going to start listening to? And more importantly, what tiny action will you take?